the usual knowledge sharing session that we do every Friday, I decided to do something a bit different. Reason being because of the peculiarity of today's topic. So I just don't want us to be, I just don't want to be sharing on the WhatsApp platform. I tried to do a video so as to explain, to better explain what we'll be talking about today. My name is Paul Adeyinka. I'm the founder of Adeyinka Vines Limited, an agro processing business in Ogun State. I started the business in 2019 after I was laid off from my 10-year banking career. And I'm an alumni or an alumnus of the Business School of Netherlands and the Faith Foundation. I've been able to raise money twice using that where I had to do pitch presentation. Now, those were not the 2 times I won the raised money were not the 2 times I presented or did a pitch presentation. I did a couple of presentation before I was able to do that. And even after that, I've also been opportuned to do a couple of presentation. So that is just a little introduction about myself. I want to say thank you to to MSME Africa for this opportunity to be able to speak with fellow entrepreneurs and for us to share our minds together. I also want to say thank you to Mr. Shayo Timi, my friend and my mentor, I'm grateful for this opportunity. And thank you also to Mercy for a great work you're doing and to every member of the team. I want to do a shout out to all the entrepreneurs in the house before I start this discussion. Sorry, please bear with me. I just feel I need to do this. I want to say well done to all entrepreneurs in the house. Well done for the sleepless night. I say well done for the many business plans, the proposals, the applications that you have written and didn't get any feedback from. Well done for also for the few ones you got feedback from. Well done for being the CEO, the founder, the finance manager, the production manager, the security manager, the sales manager, the brand manager, and all of this for your business. Well done for having to wear many caps at the same time. Well done for trying to make a meaning out of your life, making a meaning out of the seemingly challenging environment we find ourselves. Well done, well done. Well done for those lonely nights, those nights and days of tears rolling out of your eyes as you were overwhelmed, not knowing what to do or how to survive, but you still forged ahead anyway. Well done, well done, well done for having to stand and keep going, even when those closest to you don't believe in you, they don't believe in your dreams, and they at times tend to look down on you. Well done, and I mean, clap for yourself for a great job you're doing. The truth is that as entrepreneurs, we don't most times don't get a pat on our back for what we're doing, but in spite of all that, we still forge ahead. So I want to say well done for the great job that you're doing. And I want you to know this, that it will all end in praise very soon. It will all end on a good note very, very soon. So let's go straight ahead into today's discussion. I would like to tell you a little story about how I got into pitching and pitch deck and all that has to do with pitching. In 2019, when I started my business, we do keep records on a daily basis. And 5 months, about 3 to 5 months into the business, we realized that we need a capital injection into this business as soon as possible, or else the business was going to close shop. And so that was about this time MSME Africa came out, launched out. And so I was always on the platform looking for opportunities. And there was this particular opportunity I saw where we were requested to bring a pitch deck And that was the first time I was hearing anything about pitch deck. And so I had to go online to see what pitch deck was all about, read about it, went on YouTube mostly to see what is a pitch deck. And also that's how my journey into pitch deck began. And as entrepreneurs, the truth is that on this journey, most times you have to look, you have to give a presentation, you have to try to win investors or get people to or partners into your business. And you will most times not be able to do that without having to give a pitch or without having to use a pitch deck. So it's important for entrepreneurs to have these skills. And I felt that let me use this opportunity to speak or to teach us or to discuss, have the discussion. I do not claim to know all, but from the little I've learned from my experiences and from what I've read, um, studied online, is what I'll be sharing with us today. We have a lot of senior colleagues in the house, and I believe that also they can also add to some of these things that I'll be sharing with us today. So there are so as a researcher, I'm into research at times, I do research at times. So one of the things you want to do as a researcher is you have keywords. Keywords basically are the fact that in your document, you have some particular words that will always come up oftentimes, and you want to make sure that your readers understand what these words are. So the same thing we'll be doing here. So we have pitch deck, we have elevator pitch, we have email pitch, and demo day pitch. Now, at some point in time, I was also confused about what each of these things were. And though there are a lot of definitions online in book and all that, in books and all that. So, but I'm kind of a pragmatic person. I just want to give something that is layman definition and understanding of these things. So a pitch is a word, are words written or spoken to get people interested in what you're doing. This is just layman definition, and I just feel it's something we should be able to understand. A pitch is just words written or spoken that that is done to get investors, partners, or early adopters of your business or early adopters of your product, interested in what you're doing. Now, the pitch deck is a presentation document. The pitch is words spoken or written, while the deck is a presentation document. And this presentation document can be done using PowerPoint, Prezi, slide being different presentation app or even PDF. So that's just the difference. The pitch deck is what you're saying, what you're written, while the deck is a document. Now, elevator pitch. Picture yourself, you are entering into an elevator with your potential investor, and you want them to invest into your business. You want to invest into your business. So picture yourself entering into an elevator and you want the person to invest into your business, and you have just maybe 2 or 3 floors to go. So within that short space of time, you want to be able to convince that potential investor to come invest into your business. So an elevator pitch is a type of pitch that you give. Is very short, 30 minutes to 1 minute. Most normal pitches is usually between 3 to 5 minutes, but an elevator pitch is shorter. You have like 30 minutes to 1 minute, 30 seconds to 1 minute to get the potential investor interested in your business. It can also be described this way: you're at the airport trying to convince a potential investor to invest into your business, and the guy's about to catch his flight, and you have just a space of some few seconds to get him interested in what you're doing. So that's just what elevator pitch is all about. It's just a type of pitch. It is usually shorter than the normal pitch deck, normal pitch. So there are instances whereby you use all that is required from you is a pitch. There are instances whereby all that is required is a pitch deck. And there are instances whereby you require both the pitch and the pitch deck. And that's why we now come to email pitch deck. Sorry, I made a mistake there. It's meant to be email pitch deck and demo day pitch deck, not email pitch and demo day pitch. So email pitch deck is there's a school of thought that says that the email pitch deck is different from a demo day pitch deck. Remember, I already told you what a pitch deck is. A pitch deck is a document. It's a presentation document. So this school of thought says that because you're sending an email, you're emailing your pitch deck to the potential investors or those who will be interested in your business. There's a tendency that, because you're not there, so it should be a little bit, at least, it should be a little bit detailed, such that when they are going through the document, they understand what it is you're trying to say. While the demo day pitch shouldn't be so explicit because you're actually there to explain. While that is a very reasonable school of thought, but what I would do is I just have a pitch deck that can go for an email pitch deck and a demo day pitch deck. So I have the same, so that I don't have to be rewriting all those things. That's what I do. So those are those the keywords that we looking at in this presentation. So we have two sides to our discussion today, and we have two sides to our discussion today. Number one, we're looking at the pitch deck and its content, and the next thing we're looking at important tips for a good delivery. I hope to be able to finish all of this in 30 minutes or 30 to 35 minutes, so that there'll be, at least we have ample time for questions and answers. The pitch deck, so there's a rule of thumb that says your pitch deck shouldn't be more than 10 to 12 slides. Now, some people have used more than this, but it's just advisable that you make it as short as possible. A deck should be able to do three things. The pitch deck should be able to do three things: tell your company story, convince investors that they can make money with your company, and it should do all of this in 3 to 5 minutes. That's what the deck should be able to do. Your pitch deck should be able to do all of this and should be able to do them in 3 to 5 minutes. Now, the pitch deck itself. The first slide is your introduction or cover slide, which is just telling us who you are or telling us about your company, the name of the company, your name, and all that. While the next one is your traction slide. Now, some argue that this traction slide shouldn't come immediately after the introduction slide, especially if your business if it's not an existing business, if you've not started production, if you've not started at all, if you're just still pitching to get, if it's at the idea stage. But if it's already existing, it's already running, then you can leave this traction slide here. And if it's an existing business, all you want to put on this traction slide is your revenue chart, especially if you've made progress in your revenue. This will give you kind of, give the investors this credibility to know, is it credibility be the word now? But basically just to convince convince your investors that at least this guy has been doing something and there's progress in what he's doing. So if you don't have a revenue yet, you want to look at important timelines and milestones that you've achieved between when you had the idea and now. You want to look at key partnership and accolades. Have you been able to secure partnership with some big names, some big brands, and all? You want to put that into your traction slide. Now, the next slide is the problem, solution, and solution slide. So basically, just telling us what problem are you trying to solve and what solutions are you providing? What problem are you trying to solve and what solutions are you providing? Now, the next slide is your products and or services slide. Tell us about your products and or the services you're offering and how they address the problem that you've identified in the initial slide. Now, it's advisable you use imagery or visuals here, if possible, and just to explain for them to have an idea what it is you're doing. The next slide is your value proposition slide. Basically, what this is saying is what makes your product or services or the solution that you provide, what makes it different or unique from other people, from others. So you have to be able to have an understanding, an idea about your value proposition. Some people will say, what is your competitive edge? So what makes you different? What makes you stand out from other people? The next slide is your market size. Now, this usually creates a lot of problem for people, and some people don't understand it. So the market size, it just looks at how large your company can be. How large, what is the potential in this particular business, in this particular company. And the industry size is not necessarily your market size. For instance, you're into the fashion industry. The fashion industry in Nigeria probably is about $1 trillion or $1 billion industry. Now, that is not your market size. That is the industry size. So two ways to approach this market size is a bottom-up approach and a top-down approach. Now, the top-down approach says, what is the total market size? That is your industry size. The industry size is $1 billion. So what share of the markets are you looking at? For instance, I'm in the southwestern part of Nigeria, and the total industry size in the southwest is, let's say, $43 million or $50 million. So how much of that am I looking at as my own share of the market? So that's one of the ways you can calculate your market size. The other one is the bottom-up approach. The bottom-up is just saying you're estimating potential sales to determine total sales figure. Now, for instance, you're selling biscuits, and you have your target is probably the southwestern part of Nigeria. So you're looking at the demography. Okay, let's say biscuits. What are the people that eat biscuits so much? So let's say children between the ages of 2 and 5 or 2 and 10. So what is the demography of, because everybody cannot eat biscuits. So what's that demography? So what's the total number of people, of children at this particular age in your particular region? So how much of them can you sell to? So use that to calculate your sales and your total sales figure. So that is one way you can calculate your market size. To understand this better, you can look at this particular sites where you can get, it's also very explanatory, you can get more information there. Now, your competitor slides. Now, so at this particular slide, you want to tell us what are the alternative product or services you have to what you're offering. You can't tell me that there's nobody doing what you're doing. There's nobody, you're the only one who's existing. No. What are the alternative products or services to what you're doing? What are they not getting right? How does your product differ from what it is that they have? And this is a place where you want to put your competitors down. And when you want to talk down, so you want to avoid this because it gives you a wrong image before your potential investors. The next slide is your business model slide. This slide basically tells us, how do you make money? Is it subscription bid? Is it a markup? How do you make money? Do you make money from when you buy it, you have 20 naira to it and you sell? Or do you make money from, okay, when you buy it, just basically how do you going to make money is just what this slide is talking about. The next slide is looking at your team. So it's advisable, even if you're the only one in the business, try and see how you can get at least other people to be on the team. For instance, if you're the only one in your business, like a woman business, your supplier, you can put it there because oftentimes people, what I've realized is investors are careful when you're doing it's only a one-man show. Where the OCC Africa competition that I did, where I won the competition in 2020, during the process of screening and pitching and doing all that, when we got to the final 4, I realized that I was the only one that didn't have a team. Every other person, there were 2, there were 3, and I was the one. So what did I do? Immediately, I just went to look for, I had a friend who has been helping with my financials anyway. So I just added him to be part of the team and just told him, guy, you help me when we're having meetings, I let them see your face, let them see your name. So when we're sending them emails and all those things, his name was always there. So at least they'll know that it's not just only myself, it's not just myself. So who are your team members? What are their strengths? What are their roles in the organization? The next slide is the fundraising information slide, which is the last slide. Tell us how much capital you do intend to raise? What kind of capital partnership do you need? What do you intend to do with the funds? So this is where you want to, at least after seeing all the beautiful things and everything about the business. So you are here. Why are you here? Are you trying to is it for partnership or for capital? Let us know what it is and how much you need. That's the final slide. So that is the first aspect of this presentation. The next aspect is the tips. What are the important tips to a good pitch delivery? Now, you want to start with your why. Why are you pitching? Why are you having a pitch deck? So these are the things you want to look at, because you see, whatever it is you're doing, once you are able to define your why, it changes your mindset. It changes your approach to whatever it is you're doing. You are better motivated. For instance, why am I giving this presentation? I'm giving this presentation because I feel I'm indebted to MSME Africa for what they've done for me. So I want to give back to the community and also help other entrepreneurs. And because I'm doing that, so I'm also doing this presentation because I believe that now I've done a recording. Somebody one day somewhere could see this recording and could invite me for a presentation somewhere where I possibly could be paid. So as a result of this, I want to, because I know this, I have this at the back of my mind, my motivation is different than just saying, okay, I just want to give a presentation. So basically, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So what is your why? Your why might be, it's not just for you to raise money. You know that if you don't raise this money, you have no other option. Or if you don't raise this money, the business is going to die. You don't want it to die. Your why might be that you need to take care of your family, you take care of your children. Your why might be, no, I want to build a conglomerate. Just what is your why? So identify this and start with your why in mind. With that, you are motivated differently to do your pitch, your present, to prepare adequately well for your pitch and also for the pitch deck. So next thing is you want to avoid the following. For your pitch deck, you want to avoid too many slides. Keep it short and simple. Avoid too many information. You don't want to just pack too much details, too much stories. You don't want a slide or your PowerPoint to now be full of details, information, words. Avoid too much information. To avoid too many product details. Too much financial info. Keep it short and simple, such that they will be interested to know more about either the product or the information, the financial information. Avoid pushing your competitors down. I said this earlier on. You don't want to, if you put your competitors down, you're giving a bad image to the people who are listening to you. You want to avoid wrong data and faulty assumptions. The reason for this is that you don't know who in the audience or on the panel or the judges or your investors have knowledge about your particular industry, about a particular area you're talking about. And once they begin to counter or to falter whatever information or data you've given, you begin to run into trouble. So avoid wrong data or false assumptions. Now, what are investors looking out for what do investors really look out for? Now, this list is not exhaustive, but this is one of the things I think you also have at the back of your mind. Now, what qualifies you to do what you're doing? This is very, very important. The investor, the person who wants to put money down, wants to be sure that this thing you're doing, you know about it, or you are an expert in it, or at least you are sure of what you're doing. I was in a competition, and in that competition, there was this lady who had hair product and body lotion and all that. And the product was fantastic. The presentation was good, but the judges were had to ask her, please, because they were wondering, okay, you're doing this thing. We don't want something that I don't want to invest into this business and we discover that the cream is causing cancer or is causing hair loss. So the investor was, the judges were quick to ask, okay, so this thing you're doing, what is what qualifies you to do what you're doing? It was then that the lady said, okay, that yes, she's a graduate of, is it biochemistry or botany or something? She's also done a master's, she also certification in how to, in botany, botanical, and all those things. Now, what if the investor was not patient enough to answer that question? Or what if there are a lot of people at the event? And, so you want to, so when you're doing your presentation, somewhere along the line, especially towards at the introduction, you want to give a brief information about so that investors know that you qualified for what you're doing. For instance, when I was trying to start this presentation, I gave a brief introduction about myself. I did that purposely so that at least you have an idea that what I'm telling you, I'm qualified, or at least I have an experience about what I'm doing. If I'm giving a pitch, I tell them I'm a graduate of agriculture. I have 10 years experience in the banking industry. I'm an alumni of the business school in the Netherlands and also the Face Foundation. So anybody who hears that, and I'm running a business, an agricultural business, okay, will be confident to know that, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. So what qualifies you to do what you're doing? You need to let them know in the course of your pitch. And the investors also look at for integrity, knowledge, skills, what skills you have, commitment, vision, passion, and your experience. All these things they want to look out. They are looking out for in your presentation. Now, like I said, this is not an exhaustive list. We have, like I told you, said earlier on that we have a lot of senior colleagues in the group, and they are also more experienced. But at least for the little things that I, from my little experience, these are some of the things that investors look at for. So you also want to, sorry, let me go back. All right, so you want to ascertain the time and timing of the pitch. Ascertain the time and timing of the pitch. Wow, okay, sorry, there's an error here. So what I wanted to say is ascertain the time and timing of the pitch. Forget that investors are looking out for. So ascertain the time and timing of the pitch. Will there be question and answer? Will you be required to use audio visuals? So the time and timing of the pitch, basically how much time will be allotted, when will you be presenting, what time, you want to have an idea about all these things. Secondly, you want to, so also pictures speak thousands of words. In your slide, in your deck, put pictures that speak to what it is you're doing. Let the pictures that speak to you what you're doing. Now, don't make it too crowded, but at least put pictures there. It's kind of help to boost your presentation. As much as possible, don't read from a slide. Your audience can read. So you need to at least prepare so much very well that you necessarily would not. So for you to be able to do that, that means you really prepared. So you need to prepare very well that you don't just reading verbatim everything in your slide. Even if you read from it, at least you have to explain some things. You read some, you don't read some, just don't be reading every slide. It looks as if you don't really have anything upstairs. Now, don't forget to leave your contact details on the slide. So somewhere, oftentimes at the beginning of the slide or at the end of the slide, you want to put your contact details, such that there will be probably somebody in the audience who would not be able to come up to you or walk up to you or might be want to leave or go somewhere else. But at least they have your information about you and they can easily reach out to you. So you can also leave your contact details. Now, where possible, you can bring in your product demo. For instance, like I give an example of the lady who does hair cream body cream and all that. So if you're into such things, you can bring in your product, let them see, let the audience or the judges or the investor, let them see what it is that you are doing. You are into packaged foods and all those things. You want to bring it there. Something, not something clumsy. If you have if what your product is clumsy, you don't want to do that, but at least something smart. And if what you have is a software, can you do a demo online, an online demo there? So you want to try an audience, it just adds color to your presentation. So your presentation will be short, sweet, and straight to the point. You don't want something that is too long, so that is too boring, or just straight to the point. Turn your pitch into a story. I think just possible. Try and let it be into, try and just turn it into story. People like to hear stories. How, for instance, you want to tell what led you into the business. At the beginning of this, I told you that I was laid off from my banking job. You're wondering, okay, so this guy was a banker. So it just creates interest into what you're saying. So it gives you, turn your pitch into a story. Communicate your selling point as much as possible. This is something that stands you out from your competitors. Then be enthusiastic and mind your body language. If you are not enthusiastic about what you're talking about what you're presenting, about your business, then who will? Because if you're not enthusiastic, then why would the investor be enthusiastic? So 55% of any form of verbal communication is your body language. So if your body language is saying you don't believe in your business, or you don't believe in what you're doing, or your tone of voice is shaky, or your tone of voice is saying you don't believe in what you're doing, then you will not be able to convince the investors or the judges or whoever is listening to you about the business, because 70% of your communication is only words. The others is body language and tone of voice. So enthusiastic and to mind your body language. Know your numbers. It's important you know your numbers. This would, because anybody can ask questions, at least know your figures, know your numbers, know you have those things at the back of your mind, just in case questions are asked in that regard. Dress professionally and in line with the audience and environment. For instance, you don't want to be wearing a suit when you're giving a presentation in the northern part of Nigeria. You want to at least have an idea of what the audience is like, what the environment is like, and just dress professionally and in line with this environment. Gracefully accept rejection. As entrepreneurs, you probably might hear no a lot of times, so you have developed thick skin for this. So when they reject what you're saying or they don't agree what you're saying, as anytime when you want to begin to argue or you want to begin to show that you understand, no. If they reject you, just appreciate them and gracefully accept it. Arrive at the venue early enough to enable you to settle in and observe the environment. Send a thank you note after the meeting, no matter the outcome. That is, this may not be possible in all circumstances, but where it's possible, you want to send a thank you note. Actually, maybe we were invited to, for the pitch, or you had to go there. Just send a thank you note to them. Immediately outcome. Then practice. This is very, very important. Stand in front of the mirror, stand in front of your husband, your wife, your family, your friend, somebody. Let them give you constructive feedback. The more you're able to practice, you're able to talk about what practice, what you need to work on, how you need to do this and that. So practice as much as possible. And also, you're going to be using audio visuals, then practice in such a way that if you go for the event and you'll be using audio visuals, prepare for the worst. For instance, what if the audio visuals refuse to work? What if the PowerPoint, everything refuse to work? So what happens? So practice in such a way that at least you have those things in the back of your mind, or you already have a printout of what it is that you are going to be presenting, so that you don't get stuck along the way. So I want to show you a sample pitch deck, so at least to something that would at least to show you all I've been talking about since morning. Sorry, my screen isn't so good. Just manage it. 1 minute. Sorry. Okay, let me end this. Let me end this. All right. So so this is Airbnb. This was the pitch deck that they used in when you were starting up their company. Now, this particular company, Slide Bean, adjusted the pitch deck a little bit for better explanation. And you can see that this pitch deck is about almost 20 slides. So some would do more than 10 to 12, but it's advisable you keep it as short as possible. Now, I want to see the simplicity in this pitch deck, which is one of the things I've been trying to say earlier on, that you make it as simple as possible. Look at it. Look at how they started with pictures, very simple pictures. Also look at the problem statement. Look at the problem statement. See, straight to the point, not something so crowded with words and all that. The solution they are offering, the market validation, this is their market size. So you can see that everything is so simple. It's very, very, so keep it simple as possible, not something too crowded with a lot of things. And I think this, you can get this online. You can actually get it online. So this is just a sample of Airbnb. This is what they use to do their presentation, and the one use it to raise a lot of funds and all that. So that is that. So that's just all. So for more information, you can also look at YouTube to learn more about this thing and to practice and to get more information. So thank you very much, and that is the end of my. I think that is the end of my presentation. All right, so that's the end of the presentation. Thank you. And so let's have your questions. I just hope I've not taken so much of the time. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful.